It is Memorial Day, guys. Or at least you'll be watching this video on Memorial Day, because I'm going to schedule it out for then. By the way, this is Joey. This is the Jigsaw 0097 channel. Please go ahead and like and subscribe to this content. Sorry, I'm driving. I'm trying to turn while I'm talking about this. But yeah, if you guys like this content, be sure to subscribe and like the channel. But yeah, Memorial Day, it got me thinking. This video is not really about Memorial Day, but it did get me thinking about, you know, what was the point of something like Memorial Day, right? Well, the point of it is for our armed forces and the military, right? But what does that even mean anymore? And what really got me thinking about this, as you guys know, I live in Utah, so it's considered a conservative state. That's what I've been told my whole life. That's what everyone tells me even now. You know, when California goes to shit every 10 years, people always flee to Utah. Like, the population has gone up substantially here since I was a child, much to my own, you know, personal detriment of just seeing all of these people just flood the state. So, you know, cost of living has gone up. Utah's not a cheap state to live in. But with all that said too, like I said, it's supposed to be a conservative state. It's a Mormon bastion, which, you know, I understand the problems of Mormonism. I won't get into that, like, theologically, why this is. So ultimately, it is a liberalist type religion at the core of its ideology. But yeah, you know, based Mormons, I've been told that my whole life. And you know, for the most part, Mormons are great people, but like everyone, really, they just have their heads in the sand. So right now, what's happening, well, it already happened. It may have happened several weeks ago. I might need to figure out how to schedule these videos so they're more relevant, because I've just been making so many and they're starting to stack up where it's like I've got like a month's worth of content that can come out, but I don't want to release like 3 videos a day. So anyway, that's beside the point. That's neither here nor there. What happened is in Boise, Idaho, you guys, we're about almost 3 minutes in, so I feel like I can start talking about it. I'm trying to like game the YouTube system a little bit so that they don't flag my videos. So I'm kind of like trying not to get too controversial right up front, you know, give it a little while. It's another reason why I put the intro in the video every time, is gives it a little bit more time. But essentially what happened in Boise, Idaho is that to get around Trump's banning of the transgender flag, they made it a city issue. Now, again, this is against state laws. I don't know how the states are going to respond, because technically cities, they don't really have rights. Like, you can't just be like, we're a city. If that was the case, then the country would already be done, which de facto, I think that's what they're already treating cities like. But we're not to the point yet where that's like officially recognized, even though, yeah, they still do it behind the scenes. This is why when you look at states, you see tons of red, and the only areas of blue that you see are cities. And this is like every single state is infested with this problem of cities. So I understand all of that, and I understand that that's a huge reason why the right loses elections or wins elections. But this is, again, more Trump derangement syndrome. And I've made videos in the past, just recently, that you guys might have watched, criticizing Trump. I'm not fully on board with everything he does, but I'm also not against him. I always say I'm like 80-20, 70-30 with Trump on any given day, but I'm always like more for him than against him. And when it comes to the transgender stuff, I'm completely for it, for what he's trying to do, which is completely abolish it and ban it from society, because it's not useful in any meaningful way. It's like promoting pornography, which is what our government also does. So it's just promoting things that are ultimately destructive. They will provide no value to anyone, only misery and destruction to our generations and future generations down. So there's my mini filibuster on that. But Idaho basically did this, and so they made all of these pride flags city flags of Boise, Idaho, right? And there's obviously a tribal element here, you know, speaking in code. Just go look into the early life sections of some of these people. It's always, every single time, can't escape it, every single time. But with all that aside, because of this, it's now had a ripple effect to where now Utah, Salt Lake City, is doing the same thing. They are going to make the pride flag the the city flag of Salt Lake City. And like I said, I don't think they can do this. We'll have to see what happens with the Utah. Does have a decent legislature, even though they're pretty boomer. We have Governor Spencer Cox. He's an absolutely awful governor. Big time libtard. Again, this is why Utah's really not as based as people realize, or as people think. It's got a lot of Mormons, and Mormons are great people, but Mormons, for the most part, Mormons do not understand what is going on because their religion is not holistic. They don't look at things in a holistic way. Not every Mormon, obviously, but most of them that I talk to, they're trained to look at it in the Mormon lens, right? There's tons of Mormon books on historical topics, like the councils, things like things that you would learn in Catholicism, but they take it and they put it in a Mormon lens, which is essentially a modernist lens. And that's the problem with modernity in general, is that we're pretending like all that matters is the last 100 years of history, not the last 6,000 years of history, however long you want to go back, right? I'm definitely not a Darwinist, so I don't believe the earth is like 10,000 years old, but I do believe it's civilizations, if you include the flood, Noah's Ark, it's 6,000-ish years. I know I'm probably going to get made fun of for saying that, you know, you're a Christ cuck, whatever. I get that from a lot of people in my own life. It is what it is. I'm a Christian. Deal with it. But the whole point of this video is I'm highlighting these two states because Idaho and Utah are considered like bastion states. That's kind of the main idea I'm trying to get across in this video, is that there is nowhere to go, guys. There's nowhere left to go. If you read about things like the suburbs and why those exist, white flight, all of these things, which that'll be another video, by the way, for another day, is that I think white guilt is completely gone now because of the Shiloh Hendricks thing, and you know, I'm all for it, but I've been trying to approach that topic cautiously just for YouTube reasons. But this whole white flight concept that happened with the suburbs, like a lot of people don't know, the reason the suburbs exist is so that people don't need to live near diversity. Like that was like the main reason why, because like people lived in the city, and then, you know, the forced integration of the Civil Rights Act, and even before that, the Civil War kind of forced blacks and whites to commingle amongst each other, and it led to white flight, right? Because, you know, crime statistics, all that. You've probably heard the phrase 50 does 13, or no, it's the opposite, sorry, 13 does 50, which means 13% of the population does. Again, I'll keep it, I don't want to get my channel flagged or whatever, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. So we're in this time now, though, where it's like everything. It's a racial issue, it's a spiritual issue, it's a, you know, constitutional issue, whatever. I hear that a lot, like my constitution, whatever it is. Like there's this rotten ideology, and I don't want to say woke all the time because it's so cliche, But there's this rotten ideology now at the core of everything in American society, and there's no escaping it. There's no way to just escape it and let it exist. You have to crush it. And so that's why I'm critical of Trump on this, but also I understand, like, he's not going to do a lot in 4 years. But most of the criticism of Trump comes from the fact that he's had almost 10 years to do something about it, right? Like, he let 2020 happen. That year was a complete disaster. Just, you don't even look at it politically. It cost us so much. It cost so many people so much. Most people I know, myself included, 5+ years of your life lost to this, and we're still feeling it. Like, it's not normal. Like, I had an interview today. This is a complete random tangent, but I had an interview for a job today, and I got this email beforehand of like, oh, you need to dress nice, because it was a Zoom interview. That's like the thing now. You need to dress, and this is a job that's in Utah, by the way, so it's on site. So I don't understand why I was doing but anyway, it was like I won't give away too many details about it, other than I get this email of like, you need to dress nice and you need to have like questions ready and all this. And then I get in the interview, and the person interviewing me doesn't use the camera. The questions that I prepared, the person just kind of like rolled them all out to me right in the beginning, and then basically was like, yeah, we'll get back to you if we decide to hire you. It wasn't even really an interview. It was very odd. So that's a kind of a tangent, but that's what I mean about the effect of COVID. Like, nobody talks to each other anymore. It's like everybody's a robot. Like, people complain, or people are afraid of AI. AI is going to just be a symptom of what's already happening, guys. Like, what's already happening is that we have this inescapable technocracy going on in our own minds. It's like we've been programmed, and a lot of it is this phone right here. You know, I'm guilty of it myself. A lot of people that don't self-reflect. You know, I read something crazy that like, it's like 30% of people they don't have any, it might even be higher, it might be more like 50%. They don't have the ability to have inner dialogue, which essentially means I always think of it like when you're in the shower is when you do your most thinking, right? There's like memes about that, like your shampoo bottles hear the most epic speeches ever, because that's when most people, but there are people that they actually just don't think, which is so odd to me. I don't even know how that's possible, but you see it now with things like, just, I don't know, it could be like a woman thing, because women tend to do this a lot more than men. This is why women have all the student loan debt, which I've made a video about before, and they have all these degrees, these pretty much useless degrees. They're all working in the workforce too, because to be completely honest, they all are in tons of student loan debt, so they have no choice but to work themselves to death, because they're essentially serfs. They're indentured servitudes to the banking system, because they took out predatory loans when they were young. And I've got a little bit more of a nuanced view on student loans. Again, I made a whole 40+ minute video about this, so I won't ramble here. But the point of this video, guys, I won't leave this one too long. I'm going to probably start making them a little bit shorter, just so that they don't, I don't know, the channel has not been tracking well since I've switched content, so I'm going to experiment with different things. You guys probably noticed my face is on the thumbnails more. I'm just gonna, you know, keep playing with YouTube, keep experimenting with it, and see what happens. But the real gist of this video, and I hope this content doesn't come off as like me just filibustering and it's completely useless to you guys. This is why I asked for comments. I really would like to hear what you guys think about what I'm talking about. But the whole gist of it is that there's just nowhere to run. Okay, like, the United States is completely infested with this. I mean, last year I did a job canvassing. It was like a door canvassing job, and I was all over the country, and I've seen every state is kind of the same. They're all dealing with the same issues. It's the boomers. The boomers will not allow, because they're so afraid of the mid-century, you know, I can't say the mid-century Austrian painter, right? the mid-century German, they're so afraid of that happening again because they've been brainwashed their entire lives, that I feel like it's almost the reason why they don't let young people into anything. Like I've said before, the boomers are literally going to try to hold on to power until they're just like so old that they can't even like get out of bed anymore. They're going to be like literally in their 90s. I mean, you're even seeing this with Trump. Like he's showing the same, he's not showing dementia, but he's showing the same things as Biden, where he's just old. You can tell he's tired. And God bless him, but you know, we have able and willing young men. We have Gen X, we have millennials, which is what JD Vance is, my generation. We have the Zoomers. They're starting to get into their mid-20s. They'll be in their 30s in like 5 years, most of them. So I just don't understand the boomers. They could live for another 20 years. Like, is this really their plan? So that's the first problem. The second problem is the boomers don't understand, because they're in power, and they don't understand the problem because they're boomers. They grew up in an economy where they took it for granted. They had the Christian ethnos. They had the Christian ideology, the high trust society, you could say, that the previous generations gave them. Again, the previous generations weren't perfect because they set a lot of this in motion. The boomers are the most propagandized generation in existence, while also being probably the most worthless generation in the existence of humankind. I mean, I won't be alive, but I mean, hundreds of years from now, it's interesting to think about, if we get out of this, like, what will the future historians be talking about? How will they view the boomers? Will they view the boomers at all? Like, once the boomers are gone, I mean, we might just enter base world again and it won't even matter. That's another tragedy of the boomers, is they're just trying to cling on to this life, right? Like, it's like this infinite youth mentality, like you're never going to get old or something. I don't know. But yeah, then the third problem, it all ties in, but the third problem is that there is no, you know, and I hate to bring up Jordan Peterson because I think he's very cringe now, but you know, there's no myths anymore. People don't have great stories to tell anymore. And that was destroyed by the long march through the institutions. And so there's nowhere to go, guys. There's nowhere to go. And again, I'm not advocating for violence, YouTube. I'm not advocating for anything, remember. But it's like, if you don't stand and fight this now, especially in local politics, that's what I'm realizing. Like, if you don't, you think that the local, or you think the federal apparatus is rotten. This is like a sign of how rotten it is, really. That you can have states like Utah and Idaho starting an open resistance of hanging these flags everywhere and having these, like, just stop putting these ugly, fat lesbians in power. It's that simple. That's another thing. Stop electing women into power. This boomer idea needs to die. And this is on the right and the left. On the right, you got this Nancy Mace person. She's just as cringe as a leftist like AOC. So I'm not discriminating here. This is across the board. And just the fact that this is allowed in states. It's just states that are supposed to be really conservative, like the bastions of conservative. I don't even know. I think Utah would have been. Like in the 80s, I'm trying to think, like during the Reagan era, there are certain states, and I'd probably count Utah among them, that were just guaranteed Republican. So that just, again, it shows you where we're at. There's no escaping this. And if you don't focus on, it's like, imagine if your local politics are this bad, just imagine how bad it is at the federal level. And then it does kind of give you some slight sympathy with what Trump is doing. But why I rant about Trump, because Trump doesn't realize that he needs a sledgehammer. He doesn't need a chisel. He doesn't need to save the system. He needs to completely dismantle the system, which is what he promised to do in 2016, right? Drain the swamp. He still has not even come close to doing that. Now, again, he's doing things. We're still young in this administration, but it doesn't seem like Trump is going to be the guy ultimately, because he's a boomer. So that's what this That's what this comes down to, is we live in the boomer truth regime, as Academic Agent calls it. So there's no escaping it. That's the bottom line. It's going to continue to get more and more clownish. There's going to be nowhere to go if people don't start. As the financial system continues to collapse, right? As our currency, that's what I call them now, our currency units get more and more worthless. Like, what are you going to do? Where are you going to go? There's nowhere to just go. You can't like I want to be left alone. I've always been that way. I don't even want to make these videos half the time. I just feel like I'm compelled to at this point. But you know, I want to be left alone. That's the mentality of many people. I just want to be left alone. I just want to grill, man. I just want to go and work and collect my check and go home and grill and drink my beer. You know, a lot of guys don't even have wives now, so I guess they can't have that. You can't go home and be with your wife and your children, because most men don't even have that past the boomers and the Gen X. So I don't know. There's simple solutions to this. The children, from what I'm hearing, the really young kids, they are actually getting a lot more based. So that's a white pill for the future. But man, guys, it just sucks sometimes to live in this current state. We're kind of in this transition between the boomer paradigm of the age of Aquarius, or whatever they called it, right? If you want to think of that in the seasonal set, like age of Aquarius is entering the spring. Well, now we got to go into fall and winter. That's where we're headed. And then we can get another spring, but I don't think the spring is going to happen in our lives. It's going to happen in whoever is able to have children, which people are still having children, obviously, but those children will be the ones. So anyway, guys, I said I wasn't going to make it so long. I'm sorry, it's 20 minutes again, but I'm going to end it here. This is my name is Joey. This is the Jigsaw 0097 channel. I appreciate you guys watching and listening to me rant. If you guys enjoy this content, please consider subscribing and liking the video. I appreciate it highly. So with that said, I will talk to you all later.